Wednesday afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. That's an interesting song to come into, Gager. Getting an 80s vibe there. Nonetheless, it is game day for the Edmonton Oilers as they host the Vancouver Canucks. Is they going to get feisty? Who knows? The best revenge, Gager, win the damn game.
It's 2 points.
It's 2 points. And they're finally going to their number one, Calvin Pickerton.
Are they?
Because many of you think he should be the number one. He's been fantastic. No issues with Calvin Pickard getting the start, but we'll get to all of that, of course. And I brought you your sheet, and I forgot mine, but at if you don't mind there, Gage.
I don't mind, buddy.
I'm losing my memory here. At 120, Israel Fehr, our good buddy from Vancouver and The Athletic, will join us, and we'll get his side of things on what's been an interesting week with the two suspensions and all this talk regarding Conor Garland, Connor McDavid. We'll also get a good idea of what the Canucks are up to. They're coming off a disappointing loss to the basement dweller Buffalo Sabres on Tuesday. At 140, your favorite segment of the week is the Red Light District with Joaquin Gage in the hour 2. It's wide open. We can talk whatever you want. You were saying there was Oscar nominations today?
Yeah, I was just kind of looking at seeing if I saw any of these movies, and as usual, no.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, because the Golden Globes were a few weeks ago, and I looked at the movies, and like 4 of them look amazing. Like I read the synopsis and just look great. But right now, you got to kind of pay for them, and I'll just wait till they're made available on one of the streaming platforms.
It bugs me, the nominees. Like it's like they go out of their way to find movies that no one watched half the time, right? Like,
or is it that we're not that into movies anymore, Gabe?
Well, there is an issue with going to the movie theaters.
It's expensive.
Yeah, and I did see that they're bringing back, and I think it's the movie theater by my place, in Windermere, that the $5 Tuesdays or whatever.
Yeah.
So remember when you'd go Tuesdays and it was half price?
20 Tuesdays.
And it's great because it's licensed, which is awesome. Nothing like having a cold beer and watching the movie, but. No, I mean, it was great when my kids were younger, because most of the time it would be kids' movies, and I'll stand by them all. They're all good.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I just spent $60 on this piece of crap, watching this that I could have left an hour ago. And so, yeah, it has to be something
that you want to get the full sound experience, something like that, right?
And do it all like that. Like I've actually resorted to if I do watch a movie by myself, I'll go steal my kids' headphones. Yeah, they have those new Apple ones.
Okay,
that they have that spatial audio on it. It's crazy. It scares me to death because I can't hear anything else, and someone will come and tap me on the shoulder and freak me out. But there's so much you can do at home to watch movies now.
Reed Wilkins says, "I've seen Dune Part 2."
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would give all the awards to that one. I thought it was.
Am I saying it correctly? I've never.
Jesus.
Listen. There's 3 movies. Nora looks great. The Brutalist looks great. Nickel Boys also looks great. We'll go through the list maybe in the second hour. Like always, hit us up on the Rookery inbox, 780-218-9999, or hit us up on the Nasty Chat if you'd like to watch us, the EST YouTube channel. And if you're listening, always iHeart or the TuneIn radio apps, EdmontonSportsTalk.com as well, Gager. And we're coming to you live from the William Huff Studios here in the west side of the city. Yeah, like... outside of Dune, I don't think any of these movies were on our radar a month ago.
No.
Like, I just saw the list, and then I Googled what they're about, and then I'm like, oh, this looks great.
The Demi Moore one I heard about, that's really good. I think she won a Golden Globe for it. So that's the only one that I kind of looked at, because I believe that was her first Golden Globe that she's ever won. But again, Adrian Brody is the Brutalist? I think he's in.
Yeah, the Brutalist.
It's another period piece in the World War II, I guess. He's kind of played that out, hasn't he? Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's usually one of those things where, and even my wife doesn't really want to watch them too. But
really?
Yeah.
How about I watch
what's the last Best Picture award-winning movie that you've watched? 780-218-9999. Text into the River Cree inbox. Have you watched a Best Picture over the last 5 years?
Okay, let's look at last year's list real quick here. Okay, and
Yeah.
let's see how much we've seen of this. Yeah. Okay, I'm just scrolling down. Stick with me. Why would they have it at the bottom? It should be okay. So, Best Picture, Oppenheimer.
Okay, I watched that one.
We've all seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay, American Fiction,
No idea.
Anatomy of a Fall. No, Barbie.
No.
I've seen Barbie.
How's it good? I heard it was good.
It's funny, man.
Okay, yeah.
It's lighthearted.
All right.
The Holdovers.
No.
Killers of the Flower Moon. I know of this one. I just haven't watched. It's with Leonardo DiCaprio. Maestro.
Maestro.
Yeah.
Well, that's with Bradley Cooper.
Yes.
No.
Past Lives.
No.
Poor Things.
No.
The Zone of Interest.
No interest. I'm not in that zone.
Reed says he highly recommends American Fiction from last year's nominees.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Reed.
But you make a good point. Like until you watch these shows, you're like, okay, now I want to watch this. But you never hear of them. There's no marketing towards them.
Well, the only time I see it is there's a guy that's on my algorithm. Oh, I follow him on like TikTok, and he gives these movie reviews of things. And it's funny how, I mean, he seems like a pretty smart guy. And I've taken some of his recommendations for shows, and they've been great. Like his list seems really, and I kind of just have been, my Siskel and Ebert. I don't know if you remember Siskel and Ebert.
Dude.
They got thumbs up, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, okay.
And Reed also recommends The Substance. It's with
Demi Moore.
Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks pretty good. The synopsis is pretty good.
Isn't
as well.
it? Like, I think it's like a horror kind of movie too.
It's kind of, what is it? What do they have it as? Yeah, it's a horror film.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not into the scary stuff, but I'll probably watch it.
The fact that Deadpool Wolverine isn't on that list is ridiculous.
Pender's Pancake says he's heard it's very graphic, talking about the substance. Van Owen says Forrest Gump, the last Oscar nomination.
See, I didn't like Forrest Gump.
Really?
No.
I mean, okay, listen, I liked it, but it's not something I'll rewatch.
Yeah.
Like, I got it. I'm good. I'll move on. Van Owen also says, actually, The Hurt Locker is the last Best Picture winner I've seen. That one's pretty good.
I like that one. Catherine Bigelow, known Point Break fame, put her on the map. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what was the movie before that? What were we talking about?
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, so I remember getting into an argument with Todd Marchant about this, and he was. I was like, I don't know, that's a terrible movie. He was like, I'm gonna go watch it again right now. It's a 2.5 hour roller coaster of emotions, and I was like, Todd, you don't have any emotions. What are you talking about? But yeah, he loved it. I don't know why the little general liked it.
Top Gun 2 says Bonnie Doon-Ron. That was classic.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a good one.
I like this one from Reed as well. Parasite from 2019. Is
I did like
movie.
that one.
That's pretty good.
The Korean movie. That's a good one. I liked that too.
That's interesting.
And the only reason I did watch that was because I believe it won, right?
Yeah.
And it piqued my interest being a movie with subtitles, a Korean movie, and I got drawn into it. At first, like, I was so close to changing it, but I found myself fully engaged, and it wasn't a waste. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and Anora, I think it's a story of it's like a Russian mob guy that ends up marrying this girl, and then the mob gets involved. Something like, I've seen like a quick synopsis of it. It looks really good. It looks wild
Isn't that
too.
The Bert Kreischer, the Machine or whatever. The Machine. Have you seen that, Coob?
I haven't seen The Machine, but I saw the skit and stand-up that he did surrounding
Okay.
The Machine. They made it a movie after, but great.
That
great
wasn't in
skit,
theaters
yeah.
that long, though, I don't think.
No,
right?
no.
Yeah, I'll watch that one.
Yeah, Nickel Boys seems fantastic as well. It's got really good reviews. I know The Brutalist has great reviews. I'm intrigued now by The Substance, but the other ones I have not heard of. Conclave. Is that how you say
Conclave?
it? Conclave. Someone said it on the Conclave. It was pretty good. I would watch it if you have a chance. That comes in from 10 Dash.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Talk about best movie watching once and never again. Schindler's List, fantastic. I can never watch again. I just watched that last year.
Gross.
For the first time. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, great movie. Really, really touching as well. But we got to get into that was great talking the Oscars. We'll see who wins best movie. Well, maybe we'll make our picks, and we haven't watched any of these.
I think it's on Coolbet, isn't it?
Is it?
I'm sure it is.
Oh, we might have to make a parlay.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
That's too funny. Calvin Pickard gets a start. It's Thatcher Demko for the good old Vancouver Canucks. Like I said, they're coming off a 3-2 loss to the Buffalo Sabres. The Oilers on their first 2-game losing streak since coming back from the Christmas break. Remember when they lost in LA and Anaheim? One was an OT, but they still lost 2 games, Gager. The lines from yesterday were Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, Hyman with Henrique and Perry, Janmark, RNH Brown, Jeff Skinner, Philp, and Kapanen, with the D pairings remaining the same. Gager, this question annoys me. I don't know why I'm going to bring it up, but we have to. Anything happen with Conor Garland tonight? I just look at it like the guy held McDavid. Why does he have to do anything out of character?
No, I mean, if this is what you do with the whole situation, this is more of a just because of where we live geographically and what hockey means to us, and the fact that Connor McDavid got a suspension because of this whole episode. There's no. I call it retribution for holding. It doesn't exist. All right.
Thank you.
But saying that, I'm basically 100% certain every time Conor Garland touches the puck tonight, there will be boos from the crowd, which I think is great. And it can be a way to inject some life into your team, into the building, if you can get a good pop on Conor Garland, or, if a good hit, right? Like, inject some life into your team by doing it. It's stupid. Don't get me wrong. It's dumb. It's very dumb. The one that needs retribution is
Myers.
Myers for the cross check to the teeth. That's the one that you'd want more as a player. But no, it's I'm intrigued the way fans will react at this game, because of the smoke that this is the volume of this game has turned up, and partially because of last year's playoff series and how competitive it was. It's going to be a tough game. The Canucks are kind of fighting for their playoff lives here. And look, you see a team sans Connor McDavid. You're saying, hey, our chances just went up exponentially to win this hockey game because a player on their team isn't in their lineup tonight. So, let's see how the Edmonton Oilers respond. I look for Leon to have another great game and lead his team, but I want to see not only him kind of lead the charge. I thought Darnell Nurse kind of took it upon himself to have he was all around it last game. Like his decision making, jumping in the play, almost scoring was really good. But Corey Perry, I thought he was the Nacho Man. He's no longer Corey Perry. He's the Nacho Man. I think he was good, but I want to see someone else. I would like, selfishly, Adam Henrique to have a game tonight, just where he is all around it and very noticeable. I think that would be more beneficial for this Oilers team.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Listen, I get the fans side of it. Like, they're going to have some fun. They're going to boo Conor Garland. I think it's just stupid, but whatever. I get it. They pay a lot of money. You want to boo him for holding McDavid. There's no revenge here for McDavid. McDavid's not the victim. McDavid's the one that cross-checked the guy because he got frustrated. And yes, the refs didn't call it. We all get that. But I'll be a little embarrassed when they boo Garland tonight, but it is what it is. And like you said, it might bring the guys closer together, and they might...
they'll get some juice in it, man.
No, go out and hit him cleanly. Go after Hughes, hit him every chance you get. That's how you get revenge. And that you want to get revenge. I don't even know why we're talking about revenge, because there's no revenge to be had. But if you want retribution and you
revenge for last game, we're losing.
Yeah, win the damn game and make it clear. Imagine Conor Garland goes out, scores 2, gets 2. Oof. Oh boy! And I love Oiler fans calling him a bad player, a plug.
Oh, jeez.
He would be top 5 on the Oilers in scoring right now. I'd take Conor Garland in on my team in a heartbeat.
Does no one remember the playoff series last year? He was a threat almost every time he was on the ice.
That line.
He's a really good player. Because I hadn't watched a ton of Canucks games, but I just remember the beginning of the season prior, they were trying to move him.
Yeah,
right. He was like,
there was a little bit of a disconnect.
And somehow he became one of Tocchet's boys. And look, I loved what he said after the game too of Conor. I'm just trying to, take away the best player on the planet, which he did. But to say that Conor Garland's a plug, I think is a little bit of a stretch.
You're just being a homer, and that's fine. That's what fans do. Waddy in Cloverdale says Troy Stetcher will avenge the McDavid suspension by pummeling Conor Garland.
Little flyweights.
Baggio says he didn't hurt McDavid. I hate what he did, but he didn't hurt him. He's suspended. It's not the playoffs. He will be back Monday, and the Canucks won't make the playoffs. That's from our buddy Baggio. KD says, I don't care about Garland. Get the 2 points and nail Hughes every single shift. And I like how everybody's calling Garland the rat because he held McDavid one time.
He's not a rat. He's not. I mean, he yaps a little bit,
sure.
which everyone does. And sometimes it's a little bit more frustrating because he's not going to drop his gloves, right? But nah, man.
Yeah.
Look, I like it.
It creates a buzz.
Yeah, no, it gives us something to talk about rather than, they gotta step up the PP and who's gonna play on it. By the way, who's gonna play on the PP?
Arvidsson. They're not gonna do anything different. Gager, I was gonna say, and Tocchet yesterday, he didn't mince his words talking about his team. He said some guys take shifts off, some guys didn't want to play in the second or the third, and it's getting to that point where the coach is not even holding back anymore. And I told you this at the beginning of the year. I think Rick Tocchet's a hell of a coach, but his style wears thin pretty quick.
He's got a half-life of 3-4 years before his voice becomes Charlie Brown, right?
Yeah.
He's needed at times, and he came in at the perfect time, I think, for the Vancouver Canucks. They needed a little bit more of a hard ass with some structure.
Yeah.
And it worked. But when things are going wrong, and I don't necessarily agree with coaches calling out their players, singling them out.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if he's everyone knows who he's talking about when he starts saying these things, I think behind closed doors, it's
better.
Way more beneficial. And just when you get in front of if you're not leading with the word "we" for most of your responses to questions, your days are numbers as a head coach.
And I get he's maybe trying to light a spark, but like I said, when you're doing it on a regular, the players just tune it out after, whatever. Yeah, and we'll ask Israel if that style works in Vancouver, if it is. And I still think there's a good team in there. They just have a lot of noise surrounding that team. So it's going to be interesting. But Israel Fehr is coming up in a couple minutes here. Rip City Step says, thank you, Reed. I don't know for what, but Rip City hasn't been on our show all week. I haven't seen him on the Nasty Chat. Did we offend you, Rip City? What did we say? Was it something Koob said?
I was slagging Kevin Duckworth.
It's good to see Rip City step back on the Nasty Chat. So keep sending your messages. Our thumbs up are at a good rate. We're at 39 already, Gager. So that's a pretty good start. Let's get to 100. And, of course, the afternoon inbox, which is the River Cree inbox at 780-218-9999, is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Up next, we head to Vancouver to talk Canucks with Israel Fehr from The Athletic here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, and here's Koob with your sports update.
Calvin Pickard gets a start in the Oilers-Canucks rematch with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas previewing the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live at 6 o'clock. right here on EST. And there's 10 other games around the league, seeing the Canadiens face the Red Wings, Vegas in St. Louis, and the Hockey Club challenging the Wild. And in Toronto, Matt Murray has been recalled from the AHL, while Dennis Hildeby gets sent back to the Marlies. Staying out east, the QMJHL has announced the name of the relocated Akadi Bathurst Titan as the Newfoundland regiment starting next season. And down south, the Bengals have hired Notre Dame's Al Golden as their newest defensive coordinator, with Golden previously coaching for the Bengals in 2020 and the 2021 seasons as their linebackers coach. Right now in the NBA, the Pacers are down 3 points against the Spurs at halftime before the Raptors meet the Hawks. The Kings tip off with the Nuggets, and the Celtics throw down with the Lakers on a 9-game slate. And for the Jays, they've traded left-handed pitcher Brandon Eisert to the Rays in exchange for cash considerations. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated since 1993, they're more than just plywood. They offer everything from doors and flooring to decking, fencing, and custom millwork. They have a huge selection of hardwoods and knowledgeable staff because they're here for your DIY needs. Windsor Plywood Leduc, the experts you need to know. Israel Fehr from The Athletic on the other side of the break here on EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubusch.
Want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Some chill music to bring you back to the second segment here on EST Afternoons. Hernan Salas, Joaquin Gage. Keep hammering that thumbs up. We're almost at 50. That's a good start. Text us at the River Cree inbox 780-218-9999. Hit us up on the nasty chat as we're live from the William Huff Studios. And just ahead of Israel Fehr, Zach will give me the thumbs up when he's good to go. He's from The Athletic out there in Vancouver as the Oilers take on the Canucks. I think, what's the season series? Let me check that. They lost a lot because I think this is the last matchup of the season. Let's take a look here.
I think it is because 3 games, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Oilers won the first game 7-3 and then...
Yeah, the rubber match.
Man, I don't even remember that 7-3 win.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. Oh, that's when they lit up Lankinen and he's coming in hot. Yeah.
And it was close after the first.
Yeah. And then the Oilers...
Yeah, they took off.
They took off after that. So, interesting matchup. And like I said, Vancouver's coming in, called out. Well, not called out, but the coach didn't mince his words about his roster yesterday. So, they're going to come in feisty. They just lost to the Buffalo Sabres, too. So, and the Oilers should be as well. They're without their captain. They've lost 2 straight. And they played a pretty good game on Tuesday. They just couldn't find the extra goal they needed. And I won't say they needed an extra save because we don't want to get Joaquin fired up once again. So let's head to Vancouver. Israel Fehr from The Athletic joins us to talk Oilers Canucks. Israel, how you doing, buddy? Hello, Israel, are you there? Okay, we got to try again. This damn phone here at EST.
Need a hard line.
We do. We do. So it's it's one of those things that takes time to get it to work sometimes. So we'll keep working there. We really want to talk with Israel, get his thoughts from a Vancouver set of eyes, right? Because it's been quite a crazy week with everything that's gone down regarding a 3-game suspension, Gager. But it's going to be. I look at tonight, and like you said, I think we have to accept the fact that this team's going to be top heavy, and he's always going to roll his top guys more than anything, right?
Just embrace it. That's what it's going to be. And I know it's. I think if you were to poll Edmonton fans, they would like to see a team like the. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a team. Who did we see recently here that? Oh, the Washington Capitals, I guess, would be a team where there was some consistency throughout their whole lineup, where they did play their fourth line, not only at certain points, but very important minutes throughout the game. You know, where they were going up against the Oilers' top players too, right? So, it's just the way that this team is built there, and what the coach wants to do. He sees something in his players that they are able to handle it. And I think just the worry from most Oilers fans is, are they going to have enough from after game 82?
Yeah,
and
that's a concern.
I think it has to be a little bit.
For sure. Israel, we got him back here from The Athletic, Israel Fehr. Israel, how you doing today?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for taking the time. So before we get to the game and Rick Tocchet's comments, we got to ask you about this week and when the suspensions came down. Like here in Edmonton, it took on a life of its own. And to be quite frank, it was a bit embarrassing with certain things that happened here regarding McDavid's 3-game suspension. But no one's talking about Tyler Myers' 3 games. So like from the outside looking in, Israel, what did you make of this week when the suspensions were handed down?
Yeah, certainly took on a life of its own, as you said. I mean, obviously in the moment on Saturday night, thought that this is going to be a thing. It was an unorthodox play from the beginning. To see Connor McDavid react in the way that he did is highly unusual. The rest of that and the way Myers reacted, I guess, is part and parcel for what we would expect from hockey players when a scrum takes place. But yeah, obviously over the next couple of days, a lot of debate, a lot of reaction as to what happened, what should have been done maybe prior to McDavid's actions. Ultimately to have the two teams face off against each other within a week is also a pretty interesting wrinkle. And certainly, in Vancouver, I think the reaction has been probably even more reacting to the McDavid situation, as you said. Myers' suspension has definitely been a footnote in this whole situation.
Yeah, Israel, if there was a marquee outside of Rogers Place, it would read "Retribution for Holding," I think, for the start of this game. So saying that and seeing where the Vancouver Canucks are in the standings, I mean, this is a very important game. What's their vibe? I mean, they come off a not a great game against the Buffalo Sabres, and now they face a McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers team. This is kind of a very important game for the Canucks to try to get these 2 points.
Yeah, it is. It comes at a time where the Canucks are not playing particularly well. They've had a couple of spikes. They played well against Toronto. They played relatively well against Edmonton in the last time out. But a lot of games, that game against Buffalo was a tough one. A Buffalo team that had played the day before, and they looked like the team that had more legs in the third period. The Canucks were really sluggish, and they've been battling through things, and they are getting a little healthier. Filip Hronek missed a bunch of time, but he's been back now and is getting settled into the lineup, and maybe not necessarily always in his usual role, playing with Quinn Hughes. They did try to split those guys up against Buffalo. Didn't work, didn't have a complete game. They played well as a team in the second period, but the first and the third was very far from standard. And so heading into this game, even removing the emotions that are certainly going to be there, I'm sure people are going to be tuning in to see what might play out because of what took place over the weekend. But for this Canucks team, like they're in a position where they don't need to necessarily go on a 15-game winning streak, but they have to start to show that they're up to the challenge. And in another year, maybe if the Western Conference was a little stronger, there would be a little bit more panic. The West is pretty weak, especially at the bottom in there. And so the Canucks have been able to ride this wave of being a decent team this year, but very far from what they were last year. And honestly, guys, last year for them, the way they played against the Oilers throughout the season and even into the playoffs was, I think, a big part of their identity that they took on. Like we can take on this team that's seen as the number one cup contender. We can hang with them in a couple of cases. We can blow these guys out. And so that was really crucial for them. And I have to imagine that even without McDavid playing, that this is going to be a big one for them and something that they can I'm sure internally think that they can hang their hat on if they're able to get a win and maybe start going in the right direction.
Israel Fehr from The Athletic joining us here on EST Afternoons. Israel, I think it was yesterday, he had some words to say about his team, talking about how the team kind of fades away in the third period, called the Sabres game the most disappointing loss in his time with the Canucks. What do you make of Tocchet and the way he's handling things? He's very critical and he doesn't shy away from that stuff. But how is that being received in Vancouver with a coach that's kind of speaks his mind on the regular?
It's funny. Last year he did that, and as the team was near the top of the standings, it was seen as a huge positive that he was very honest and upfront, and that he was willing to cut off those problems before they spiraled. But when the problems continue to spiral, there has been a bit of a shift in the fan base, and certainly people aren't calling for him to be fired. You look at the work that he and the coaching staff did for the Canucks last year, and there was a lot to recommend them. But right now, this is a team that hasn't changed a whole lot in terms of what they look like when they play well. And they haven't been able to get to that level consistently. They haven't been able a lot of nights to generate a lot of offense. Certainly when Quinn Hughes isn't out there, they look like a team that doesn't have a lot of motor. Hughes has been the guy for a couple of years now, but this year, because maybe some of the forwards aren't at the same level, where it's just obvious how much he's impacting the team, how much he's lifting the Canucks. And so without him out there, they seem to really struggle. And I do think that Tocchet is finding it difficult to put the right combinations together, find the way. Hughes plays 30 minutes a game. That covers a big chunk of it, but you've got to have the other 30 minutes accounted for and having this team play a little bit better. And that seems to be the main challenge for him. He's tried to push a lot of buttons. He's changed the lines a lot. He's been, as you guys said, very open and honest and critical through the media. And it does feel like there's maybe a breaking point that's coming. Obviously been a lot of trade rumors with this team as well. So lots to dig into there. And yeah, certainly not as successful a year for the Canucks and Tocchet compared to last year.
Israel, speaking of trade rumors, it looked like the deal was almost done for JT Miller. What does it look like? Is this going to get done, do you think, before the Four Nations, or do they wait to closer to the trade deadline to find the right type of deal? Or, I mean, will they kind of maybe push this and see if they get into the playoffs and see what kind of performance they can have? Because let's face it, Miller in the playoffs is a beast. And although Pettersson didn't have his A game, if he does have his A game last year, there's a good chance that the Vancouver Canucks are in the Western Conference Final.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting situation where Miller's under contract long term. He's got 5 years left, right? This is not a situation where you've got to decide, we need to move this guy. Jim Rutherford and now, Patrick Alvin as the GM of this team together over the last couple of years have shown that they're following that Rutherford model. They like to get trades done early. And so it's not a surprise that Miller's name has been out there and that those rumors are being reported on. And it does sound like it was pretty close over the weekend. But the market for him seems like it's pretty thin, apart from the Rangers, who have been linked to him for a long time. It's hard to know if they're going to be able to get good value back from some other teams. So I think it's a pretty tricky trade for them to make. And watching that game against Buffalo the other night, I was thinking, it didn't feel like this is going to be JT Miller's last game just because of all the circumstances around it. And you're absolutely right. When he's on, he's a difference maker. He's the type of player that your team would absolutely love to have in the playoffs. He can put up points. He doesn't shy away from the fight. He is the kind of guy that drags his teammates into it. And I do see a scenario where they hold on to him for this year. It's, a message to the team. You guys got to figure this out for this season. We will revisit what that looks like in the off season if this is the right thing for us long term. But right now we've got a lot of big players here on big contracts that should be in the primes of their career. This is not a team that is, even if last year was seen as a little bit of a surprise, given where the players are at, given the contracts that these players are on, given what they've done in the past, this is a team that needs to win now, and they've got the group there to do it. They haven't shown it enough consistently this season, but there is, I think, underlying still a belief that at least for this season, they could put things together. They could be a tough out in the playoffs. Will that change the direction, the dynamic going forward? It could, and I'm sure that they're going to have to reevaluate that if that does happen. But they're trying to balance those two things. They're trying to balance the long-term future of the team. Are we headed in the right direction? Can we be a contender on a year-to-year basis versus here's what we have at our disposal this season. Like I said, the West is pretty weak right now. This could be an opportunity to try to push forward. And again, they don't have that clock, that timer for making a Miller trade because his contract's not changing for a long time. And if they can get him playing a little bit better too, that obviously will raise his value in a potential trade.
Israel, one last one for you. We got to check in on our boy, Vinny D. I know he's been kind of in and out of the lineup, some good, some bad there. But what do you make of him now that, he's over 3 months into his time with the Vancouver Canucks? How has he looked? Is he improving? And is this a guy that you could see maybe being a mainstay on that third pair going forward? Or is he going to be kind of like he has all season, kind of in and out?
I think he's definitely improved over the last few weeks. His game's been more consistent. He's doing the things that you expected from him. He's got that physicality. He's able to. He's probably a better skater than people give him credit for. He's able to bring a dynamic that I know the coaching staff in Vancouver really values. And yeah, it was tough early in the year where he's in and out of the lineup. He had a couple of bad performances, but this is the best that the Canucks have seen from him. And I think in an ideal world, he is a guy that they can just rely on the third pair. They know he can PK. They know that he can handle minutes at 5-on-5 as a third pair guy. And as a right shot and a guy at his size, there's a lot of value there. And it's clear that the Canucks organization thought that was something that they were going to be able to, I think in their mind from day one, be able to rely on. It hasn't necessarily been the case. He has had those highs and lows this year, but he went from a guy that in the early days, I think was getting a fair bit of criticism from the fan base. And that has gone away, as have, I think, some of the trade rumors as well. He has been given the opportunity here to settle in, show what he can do well. And maybe some of it has to do with some of the chaos and on the rest of the roster, but he's been a really solid piece for the Canucks over the last few weeks.
Israel, great stuff as always. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, enjoy the game as well.
Israel Fehr from The Athletic out there in Vancouver does a great job covering not just the Canucks, the NHL, and some interesting things that are said by Israel. And good to see that Vinny D is kind of turning his season around. Megs Bezuzu says, I wish the trade does not get done before Four Nations so Miller and Pedersen can go at it.
I know, yeah. That's what I mean. It's Jake Paul, Mike Tyson.
And then KR says if Miller was traded, Vancouver would have lost the game against the Oilers. He was their best player and was on McDavid all night. They're screwed unless they get a giant haul for him. And he does play well against the Oilers.
Well, he gets up for that, right? He wants to be the man. Yeah, it's tough because he's a little bit of a unicorn, man, where his skill set is designed for the playoff hockey.
Oh, yeah.
He is awful to play against. And he's willing to do things that are very uncomfortable to make the opposing team uncomfortable. And those guys, and the ability to put up points. That's the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a hell of a player. Looks like he's probably not the easiest guy to get along with by accounts, but who cares? You want these guys to play good hockey, and he does for most of the time. And we'll see what happens. I mean, there was a lot of rumors earlier this week about potential trades, but it's a difficult one to make because he has a no movement, so he has to kind of pick and choose where he'd like to go. And Vancouver also doesn't want to give this guy away. We'll continue the hockey talk coming up in the second hour of EST Afternoons. But up next, it's the favorite part of the week. It's the Red Light District with Joaquin Gage. Portions of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brewhouse. NHL lives at the Canadian Brewhouse. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light, where you can win game tickets and 2 tickets to a surf and turf dinner at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Red Light District coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Here's Kub with your sports update.
The Oilers look to get back in the win column when the Canucks roll to town, and you can get set for the action right here on EST alongside Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas as they go live for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 6. And 11 total games dot the NHL slate, including the Capitals facing the Kraken, the Penguins and Ducks butting heads, while Ottawa visits Boston. And staying out east, the Leafs have sent down goaltender Dennis Hildeby to the AHL while recalling Matt Murray from the Marlies. And the QMJHL has announced Newfoundland's team name as the Regiment, with the team having their inaugural season next year, replacing the relocated Akati Bathurst Titan. In football, former Fighting Irish defensive coordinator Al Golden is returning to Cincinnati for a second stint with the Bengals, this time as their defensive coordinator. And on the court, San Antonio leads Indiana 85-71 nearing the end of the third quarter. After that, Toronto is on the road in Atlanta. Jimmy Butler sits for the first of his 2-game suspension with the Heat against the Bucks, while Oklahoma meets Dallas. And in golf, Ludwig Aberg leads at 8 under in round 2 through 7 holes, holding first place by just 1 stroke. This sports update is brought to you by Capital Care Foundation. Financial support deeply affects residents at Capital Care, and whether it's a one-time donation or a monthly contribution, every penny counts. Find out how you can make a change at capitalcarefoundation.net. We have a quick break before Joaquin and Hernan continue EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubusch for your sports update.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for two at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Joaquin.
You don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night.
Joaquin.
You don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right.
Joaquin.
You don't have to put on the red light.
Joaquin.
You don't have to put on the red light.
Joaquin. 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 All right, 148. Welcome back to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk. 55 thumbs up. We're getting close. If you're watching and haven't smashed the thumbs up, please do so now, as it's time for your favorite segment of the week, the Red Light District with Joaquin Gage.
So this week, my wife phones me the other day, and she goes, "What's your ring size?" I'm like, "Ring size? What are you talking about?" And I give her the size, and so she gets me a new ring, and my wedding ring was stolen. Well, it was in my car. So years ago, I went to an Oilers game, came home, and with my son. He was a lot younger, so I had to carry him into the house because it was late. He was asleep, right? And right before there was an alumni skate, and usually with my watch and my ring, I would put in the pocket of my pants because I didn't want to wear my ring while I'm playing. Right? And it was and I left it in the console. So what happened was the next day, after I take my son in, what happened is my car keys were in my hand, and I guess I dropped them, and it was snowy out, so I didn't hear them land. And the next day, I take the dog for a walk, and I'm walking, and I get a call from my wife, and she goes, "Oh, you went to the dog park?" I go, "No, I'm just walking the dog in the street." He goes, "Well, your car's gone." And I'm like, "What?"
What?
I walked right past where my car was parked the night before, didn't even notice. I go back, I go, "Where's my car?" So my car was stolen, and my key or my ring was in the console of the car. Anyway, I'll tell you that story too. It's going off rails here. But I phone the cops.
Yeah.
And I say, my car is stolen, blah, blah, blah. I get all this. At the time, I worked at Shaw Cable. So I go, well, I've got about 160 guys all scouring the city. So I go onto the big group email. "Hey, boys, if you see my truck, I put a picture on it. See this, let me know. It was stolen last night." And I had phoned the cops before, give them the whole report.
Yeah.
Within minutes, one of the Shaw guys, "Gager, it's in Beverly." And so I'm phoning the police. I go, and this is probably staggered at least 40 minutes in between. And I phone them back. They haven't even filed the report yet. And so I'm like, you know what? I've tried to file a report. My car's here. I'm going to get it. She goes, "Well, wait, we'll have a cruiser there waiting for you." So my wife and I were driving to Beverly, and we're like full cloak and dagger. Like I'm parking away from the car because I don't know if there's some psychopath sleeping in it. But anyways, got my car back. It's all good. So, but it's funny how I found it within 15 minutes, which is ridiculous. But I didn't realize till a couple weeks later my wedding ring was gone. So. And for years now, I didn't want a new one because that girl at West Edmonton Mall that put her hand up on the slide and her ring got caught and ripped her finger off.
Oh.
And even Jimmy Fallon, he slipped and fell. I think his ring got caught on a dresser handle, and he can't even play guitar anymore because it wrecked his finger. Yeah. So I went with all the rubber ones. So they just, but my wife got me one of those new rings, those biometric, like it's like an Apple Watch where it tracks your sleep and your steps and all this thing, and it's really quite nice. It was dead tonight. I didn't charge it, so I got a rubber one on now. But I don't know if I like it because it's cool and it I get readings from it, but I find I'm looking at it too much now. I'm like, what's my heart rate? Am I stressed? Like it gives me stress levels. Am I burning enough calories? I don't know if.
Does it tell you to get up?
Like the first, like I tried to get away from when I wake up in the morning. The first thing I grab is my phone.
Yeah,
right? I hate that. I hate that I'm so tethered to it. But it's got the sleep thing, so it tells me. So I got to see how much time, and I don't know how accurate this thing is. It could tell me anything and I'd believe it. And it tells me how much sleep I've gotten, and if it says a good sleep, and I can't believe it because the first few days using it said my sleep was poor.
Yeah.
And I felt like crap the whole day because my ring told me I slept poorly. And the last 3 days it's told me I've slept great. And I mean, I cleaned the kitchen. I'm feeling better about myself. I think this is all just a bunch of baloney. And this stupid ring is making me feel better just because it's thrown out some numbers. So technology's great. I love it. It's cool. There's so many things you can do with it. But are we too tethered to these devices now, buddy?
I'll tell you this. So I got a Fitbit because I like to run in the summer, so it's easier to track than on your phone. It still goes on your phone,
it goes on front,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So then when I got this too, to track my sleep, and then like my air levels were really low one day, and my niece is a nurse. I'm like, "Is it okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're fine. Calm down." But let me tell you this: it'll go away. Because now I don't use it to sleep. I don't check. I have everything turned off. The only thing I have it turned on for is my steps, heart rate, and then for workouts.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you get really into it, but then like in a month you're like, I don't care how I slept.
I've never had the sleep thing, and it's so I find it very important because I don't know what it is. All my algorithms are about how you sleep at night and how you should get this and what you should do before. And I'm trying to make adjustments. Maybe it's part of the a little bit of resolutions and things, but I'm checking this thing all the time. It's not good, man.
It's not. And it can be with a lot of different things. Like you can check your downloads if you have a podcast, like your content, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leduc and Aaron says they say all those sleep trackers and stuff make you sleep worse due to the panic of it. There's been studies.
Really? Yeah, no, it's been saying I've been excellent the last few nights. So obviously I'm good in the sheets, buddy.
So how is your sleep? Inconsistent?
Well, I was getting a rating of like between 65 and 75 before, but then I don't know how it tracks it. Like it's, how deep sleep.
Yeah.
You're not there that long. Like,
no.
So I think last night was the first time I was almost 2 hours in deep sleep, and then some light sleep. Right. But, and then REM sleep before that, where they say that's no good. But so last night it actually registered, and my heart rate it gets low at night, but it averaged like 52 beats a minute at night.
Because I noticed on mine too when I was doing the sleep thing, like you're not in a deep sleep for too long.
No.
What's the middle one? The one you're
the light sleep.
The light sleep. Yeah, you're in that one for most of the night.
Most of the night you're in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's interesting. I was really into it too, and I was tracking it, and I was like,
Oh.
I'd see like you have a good mark, like 83, and then some days you'd be at a 60, and then some days you'd be at a 90, and I'd be like, what am I doing
It's
different?
like I wrote a test, and I'm like, I'm waiting for the results back. Like it's
It is
so-
just your sleep.
It's just my sleep. Yeah. I look at I try to close I got it. Like you can mess with the rings, like 10,000 steps, how many calories you're burning a day, all those things. So that's cool. I don't know. I take that with a grain of salt, but I don't know what it is. Even what they did say is it takes your blood oxygen level, right? So, and it can actually tell you if you've got COVID because you're just not getting enough oxygen.
That's crazy.
So, no COVID here.
Yeah, like what's the one I was complaining about? It's your SP02% levels, which is kind of like the air. Like it's something like that. I remember my niece explained it to me, and one day, like she said, like anything over 96, 97, I think that's what she said, is normal.
Yeah.
And I dropped to 95 one day. I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna die? And she's
Well, it's
like,
probably
no.
because you're blowing, you're drinking scotch and blowing darts all night. That's why.
No, I don't smoke. Once in a blue moon. Linga says, Gage, your wife inputs if you've had a good or bad sleep, depending on chores needing to be done. No excuses.
Maybe this was a whole plan of hers to get me to do stuff. But man, I swear by it. That thing said 90. Like I got up this morning, I felt like someone hit me with a sledgehammer, and as soon as I saw that reading, I was up and at 'em. I was ready to roll.
How long have you had that?
I don't know, 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I'd say by mid-Feb, you're not even going to be checking your sleep.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see. We'll check back in mid-Feb.
Rip City Step says, is Gage wearing a turtleneck to support Garland? A very Jasmine thing to do.
Was he in? This is the first time. Go back out of the chat, please.
He says even though he's not appearing on the chats, he's always around.
Oh, okay.
So
All
I
right.
like that. Let's see here. Gager, you are excellent. Signed, your watch from Bones. And then let's see here. I tease my wife that I have more carats in my ring than she does. Hers is worth 10 times more, though, and he sent us a picture of it. That's a nice ring there, Bronco Nick. Very, very nice. But Gager, yeah, I mean, it's a cool watch. I mean, a cool ring, not a watch.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think you'll grow out of it and you'll stop checking, because if not, it's going to drive you crazy.
It will. Definitely will.
Do you notice? Okay, let me ask you this: when you've had a few wobblies, do you sleep? Have you noticed your sleep levels are a little bit different?
Oh, I'll know right away. As soon as I have a little bit of alcohol, it sucks. Yeah, I'm up. It bothers me.
It's like a restless.
Yeah. It's terrible. Really bad.
That's interesting. Very interesting. We're at 59 thumbs up, only 41 away. We got an hour to go, guys. An hour. We have a full hour coming up. We'll continue to tee up Oilers Canucks. We'll get to some Oscar texts as the nominations are out. And we were talking about how we haven't seen any or heard of any of these movies up until they're announced as a nomination.
Yeah.
So we're asking for your favorite Oscar movies that you've watched. And there's a few good ones, but let's be real here. A lot of them we don't know until we see them at the Oscars or at the Golden Globes. I'm going to look one up, Gager, that I saw a few years ago, only because I saw it as a nomination, and it's a really good movie. I just can't think of it. I think it's called The Green Book, actually.
Oh, yeah.
It's good, eh?
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No.
It's really good. Coop's seen it.
Oh, I'd say anybody should watch that movie. It's just a great movie all around.
Yeah, it is fantastic. So we want to hear from you. It's wide open in hour two as the Oilers take on the Canucks, who will take on Conor Garland tonight. Dun, dun, dun. That's all coming up here on EST Afternoons. Like always, keep sending us messages to the Nasty Chat. Hit that thumbs up and hit us up on the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. Reminder, Reed Wilkins, Jay Milne coming up at 3, and they'll take you right up until 6. And then Tom Gazzola will jump on for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show as the Oilers take on the Canucks. We're back after the break here on EST Afternoons on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports sports teams and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Calvin Pickard gets a start in the Oilers-Canucks rematch with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, previewing the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live at 6, right here on EST. And there's 10 other games around the league seeing the Canadiens face the Red Wings, Vegas in St. Louis, and the Hockey Club challenging the Wild. And in Toronto, Matt Murray has been recalled from the AHL while Dennis Hildeby gets sent back to the Marlies. And staring out east, the QMJHL has announced the name of the relocated Akadi Bathurst Titan as a Newfoundland regiment starting next season. And down south, the Texans and team president Greg Grissom have parted ways while the Bengals have hired Notre Dame's Al Golden as their newest defensive coordinator, with Golden previously coaching for the Bengals in the 2020 and 2021 seasons as their linebackers coach. And right now in the NBA, the Spurs are up 110-87 on the Pacers before the Nuggets meet the Hawks. The Kings tip off with the Nuggets, and the Celtics throw down with the Lakers on a 9-game slate. Meanwhile, the Jays have traded left-handed pitcher Brandon Iser to the Rays in exchange for cash considerations. I'm Zachary Kubusch. That was your sports update. The second hour of EST Afternoon starts right now.
Welcome back to Edmonton Sports Talk. This is hour 2 of EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, Zach Kubusch in the house. Fun first hour, teeing up Oilers Canucks. Israel Fehr joined us from The Athletic, and we had the Red Light District with Joaquin Gage. I'm good, thank you. Talking about his ring that tracks his sleep and his air levels and his heart rate and pretty much everything, and how it's becoming a bit of you're just checking it way too much. That's the problem.
Yeah, we got to stop.
Got to stop. So I think he's going to grow out of it just like I did with my Fitbit, because I was doing the exact same thing. Now I just use it for workouts and my steps. That's about it. But check it out. It was a really, really fun segment. In this hour, we'll continue to tee up Oilers and Canucks and talk whatever you guys want to talk about. We're talking about Oscar-nominated movies that usually we don't know what they are until they're nominated, but it's a good list this year. I've checked out a few of them and their synopsis, and they look very, very good. So keep sending those in to the River Korean box at 780-218-9999 and on the Nasty Chat.
Maybe we should watch them and review them together.
Sure.
Go through them.
I think a lot of them, obviously right now, I know a few are on Prime. They're like about just over $20. Like I know that.
You get all of them?
Not all of them, but there's a few on Prime.
Is there?
Yeah, I think there's a few on Apple. Obviously, if you want to go to the theater.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we should. That'd be great. It's going to be
little weekend watching.
A little bit of weekend watching. Always up for a good movie. I just wanted to bring this up. So Formula One drivers, now this just came down today, could be suspended from racing or lose championship points for swearing or making political statements under new rules from the series governing body of the FIA. Who's to blame for this? Max?
I don't know. Whatever. Just swear in your own language or look. You're gonna get athletes at their height of, they've just competed in a race of basically almost dying at every turn. You can't expect them to. And you want to hear what they have to say right after a lot. They're heated. It's just like hockey players too. Sometimes I'm like, geez, that's got to be tough talking right now because you're emotionally at a level where you're not thinking clearly. I think it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like the political statements. Who has political statements? What is it? Lewis saying Black Lives Matter or something? Is that what they're talking about, and things like that? Or
could be.
Yeah. I mean, I know, well, like, okay, maybe that way these guys have a pretty big platform and they have their own, maybe they can do it there if they don't want it. I don't agree with it, fine. But if a guy lets out an F-bomb or an S-bomb once in a while, who cares?
Yeah, like I get, you make a great point because a lot of the times, say you finish second in the race and you kind of lost in a bad way, the guy overtook you in the final 2 laps or whatever. Like you're getting out of your car and you have a mic in your face.
Yeah.
Like you're pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was reading the article and it did say though it was more when they're at the podium. Like, when they put the drivers, the top 3, the top. Yeah. Said it happened there more often than just.
Well, just bleep it out then. Put a delay on it and bleep it out. I don't see the.
Yeah. It's interesting. How much closer are we, Gager? Just a little bit of a month?
Yeah, we're coming up on, what is that? 20, yeah, just a little over a month.
First race is in March?
Well, it's testing February 28th.
Yeah.
So.
And then when are they going to, when they do the presentation of the new car?
Yeah, I want to say that's in the first week of February where we see the livery of all these cars. Like they're putting them all, they're doing it all at once. Like usually there was a slow drip of the new cars and how they looked. And even then they said they didn't even show their real cars because they're so cloak and dagger with a lot of this stuff. Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think I forget the actual date, but that will be cool because we'll get to see each car. I mean, are you kidding me with Lewis in red? I was a little worried if it was going to look good. It looks good.
It's growing on me, man.
And that yellow helmet he's sporting.
You know what? I saw yesterday evening. I was going to text you. That helmet's the best helmet in the game right now.
Yes. Yeah. And like they always do cool ones. Like I forget. I think it was in Houston a few years ago. Lando Norris did a basketball, and it looked like a basketball. It looks sweet. And there's some pretty cool ones that they're able to do. I think Bottas had an old school one that was reminiscent, kind of like Mike Smith's helmet, where it had the old goggles on it and stuff. But Lewis's, come on, that thing is gorgeous.
I know they get creative with it, but it should almost be like their goalie mask. Like get really creative and design the crap out of it.
Yeah, well,
right?
Lewis usually he tries to keep saying he had the Senna tribute one that he would always wear. I like that kind of stuff. Max's is pretty cool with the lion on top. Like I love it. I think it's great. I think it adds to a little bit more of their personality and stuff. But dude, we're so close to this. This is going to be. I am jacked for this season. Hopefully, it lives up to the buzz.
You have an appetite to get into Indy?
I'm gonna have to.
Just to get your fix.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's on, but I would like to.
Better timing for us here in Edmonton.
Yeah, well, you say that. To me, I love the early races. I don't mind it at all. I like when it's on at night. I can't wait till Fridays in a few in a few short weeks, we'll be in there watching practice after the show and before the show. It'll be great.
Yeah, because I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to read that book that Van Owen. I was looking it up online. Looks really good. It's called The Indy Split. Talks about like kind of the history of it and how Indy went away in its entirety. So that's another one on the docket for Hernan. But I've realized that it's going to be a little bit harder because I think there's more teams, more drivers.
Yeah,
obviously a lot of different set of rules, different tracks.
I don't know. I might dive fully into it. I know I got to renew my F1 subscription here probably pretty quick. But for any sort of paid subscription to a sporting event, nothing comes close to F1 TV of what it provides for you. It is absolutely ridiculous.
And our boy Will Buxton's making the transition over to Indy, so a familiar voice will be nice as well, right, Gage?
Yeah, and James Hinchcliffe too. Like he's, and he was an Indy driver too, right? So
was Hinchcliffe who was the Canadian driver that years ago when I used to interview Eric Thomas, who had a really bad accident?
I think it was him.
Was it Wickens, or does someone know out there? He had a really, really terrible accident and had to like learn how to walk again and all that. I want to say it's something with a W. I don't know if someone knows out there, because I remember back then Indy had a lot of, not a lot, but they had a good handful of Canadian drivers in there. I don't think they have one now though. I was kind of looking through their roster and I couldn't find one.
See, I just because McLaren does probably the best job of boosting like their drivers. I know some of those names are familiar with me. Now of course it escapes me the name of this guy. But there was talk of him joining McLaren before Oscar kind of made the decision to leave Alpine. Was it? He was with Alpine before. That's a driver that I'm really interested to see, because everyone's saying how Lando is poised to win a championship now. He's got the experience and. But I just find Oscar Piastri is so much closer to where Lando is now than when Lando started, if that makes sense. Like he's unfazed by everything. And it was the ultimate team player last year, helping Lando win some races and certain positions on track. But that inter-team rivalry is probably, I would say, the most interesting to me, other than Lewis and Charles Leclerc.
You're going with the McLaren duo, eh?
Well, I just think your biggest competition, they always say, is your partner, is your teammate.
Yeah.
Right? You always want to outperform your teammate. And Ferrari's got two really, really good drivers. And I just feel that the gap between, you look at most teams, like if you look at Max Verstappen and Liam Lawson, there's a cavernous gap between those two right now. You have to say that, right?
Oh, for sure.
But I think the gap between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri is a lot closer than most other teams.
Yeah, I think it has to be those two teams, especially at the top. There's 6 rookies this year, right?
Yeah.
They all make it through the season.
Ooh. Well, which one wouldn't? I have to go Liam Lawson, just
because of the team he's on and the pressure.
Just Max chews up teammates. You can't put him. Look what he did to Checo. Checo doesn't even have a seat anymore, right? And that's a guy with a lot of experience. Liam's got, 40 races under his belt? Not even. Something around there.
He better have thick skin, eh?
He just has to realize that the evolution of the car, he has to keep up with Max.
Yeah.
And that's almost impossible, I think.
Because Gasly couldn't, Albon couldn't. And that's when they went out and got Checo, right? Because I remember that drive.
You could say Ricardo couldn't either.
Right?
Yeah.
He left on his own, though.
Yeah, well,
he saw the writing on the wall and said, I'm out. Because it's Behrman, Antonelli, I think I'm saying this right, Jack Doohan,
yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar. Yeah, because like obviously Lawson, Antonelli racing for two big teams. The other guys kind of mid-tier, some on the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the guys with not the big name behind them, they'll be giving a lot more leeway. They're good.
Yeah.
But Liam Lawson, Antonelli, probably a lot of pressure on them, eh?
Yeah, Kimmy's got a ton, right? Like, those two drivers, obviously because of the teams they drive for, with Red Bull and Mercedes, a lot of eyes are going to be on them. They're two big teams.
Yeah.
Look, the biggest thing for a lot of the teams is the Constructors' Championship. The reason why Checo Perez is no longer with Red Bull is because he couldn't provide points in that car. So although you want your driver to be champion, you have to have your second driver be competitive too. So you're still in the hunt for that Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, in order to do that, you need both of them.
You need
going.
both, man.
You definitely do. Van Owen says, I don't know, boys. This is the best rookie crop in F1 in a lot of years. Because usually, Gager, you do see seat changes, but it's kind of recycling the guys.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, come back and do this and do that.
Well, yeah, and that was Van Owen that said that?
Yeah.
So, and we asked Tim Hraney, I think it was the last time we had him on, why do you think there's so many young drivers? And it was because of like Antonelli and Liam Lawson coming in and performing well, getting points. Ollie Behrman coming in that Ferrari car and getting points, I believe, in the second or third race of the year, finishing 7th, I believe, in that race. Like, so I think a little bit team principals went the Lemmings way and goes, gosh, we got these young guys are actually stepping in and doing some stuff. We can, and I don't know what the contract situation's like, but you can probably get some of these guys for a lot cheaper than a more experienced driver. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Like, I'm all in right now. After reading those two books, I'm gonna read the Indy one. We're becoming motorsports guys, Gager.
Yeah, it's good. You know,
in the summer, it's going to be Elks Motorsports.
It'll be great. It'll be great.
MMA.
And MMA, sorry.
I know you guys didn't forget. Right?
Old School Nasty says, Indy is pretty good racing, but the downside is they also race ovals, which is boring.
Yeah.
That's true. So the name of the Canadian Indy driver that got in a very bad accident was Robert Wickens.
Oh, Robert Wickens?
Yeah. He's 35 now. Collingwood Rob says, James Hinchcliffe almost died in a race.
Yeah, yeah.
Boys, when are we going to Monza?
Did you see how many people are there watching Lewis?
If anyone can pull off a switch like that, McLaren to Mercedes to because where did he start? He didn't start at McLaren.
McLaren, yeah.
He started at McLaren?
Yeah. McLaren, Mercedes.
And to go to the red, because the red is something special in F1.
That's the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's the Montreal Canadiens. That's the poster that all these drivers had on their walls as kids, right?
Yeah.
I forget. I'm butchering the wording of Lewis getting it, but this is where I'm supposed. Like, this has been a long time coming. It's a dream to drive for Ferrari, right? That's.
Because it's from the 50s.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
It's to drive for them.
I think everybody grows up like in the karting world, like that's what you want to do is like get to Ferrari.
Yeah. Lewis said, I just reminded, he said there's two things in Italy that are important: the Catholic Church and Ferrari.
Bronco Nick says, Forza Ferrari. I can't see Red Bull challenging for the Constructor Championship. It's McLaren and Ferrari.
Do you think an Aston Martin, the resurgence of the Canadian Lance Stroll?
Well, that's not till 2026.
I'm just saying.
No, but
I know, but I'd like to see. I just want to see a Canadian driver because it would be fun to cheer for a Canadian.
Oh.
Although Lance is kind of poopy pants. But.
He's kind of an annoying guy to cheer for, but yeah, I wish him the best. Dude, Jay Millen says, Gager and I were vibrating at the 2005 Indy in Edmonton at the old City Center.
Yeah, that was
Airport.
because of plethora of vodka Red Bulls, Jay. And we didn't even know each other. We're probably standing right next to each other chugging these things. God, my heart. I wish I would have had that ring back then. It would have been hilarious.
It would have exploded.
Oh my gosh. It would have called 911 for me. This guy's having a heart attack.
Oh, that's too funny. You know what I like about Aston Martin though? Their look. I love the color.
I love the green.
Oh, it's such
There was
a
a
good
guy. There was a guy. I was walking the dog last summer, and he had a Aston Martin jacket on, or it was a shirt, and it had Alonso. It looked like a football kit.
Yeah.
And it had Alonso on the back, and I was like, oh my gosh, that green, there's a certain color, and I believe it's called British racing green that like only certain like car manufacturers can actually use. It's like Ferrari red. Like that's a distinct color that you can only get for Ferraris, right? But that green, man, it is dynamite.
Bronco Nick says Stroll is still at Aston Martin. No, we like yeah.
No. I'm saying that he would. It would be nice to see him actually, get some points, because there was someone I saw on a podcast or something. He said that if Fernando Alonso just said, you know what, I'm done after 4 races, he would have tied Stroll in points for the rest of the season. So,
did you see him training in his neck?
Did you, George Russell? I looked at the Mercedes Instagram page, and they had George Russell working out, and they had, I don't know what muscle that is. But it looked like a quad. It looked like they took the muscle in his quad and put it in his neck.
They need that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like the one of the main workouts they do.
Well,
is
they
their
work
neck.
out all and then they finally get into the car. And I mean, they do testing now, but they just for the first few weeks or in the first races, all they complain about is neck soreness, right? Ugh.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Van Owen says the days of Paul Tracy were wonderful. I loved watching that dude race. Sure, he tossed his car into the hedge a few times, but there was no one faster. And Paul Tracy's a name that even if you weren't into motorsports, you always heard it in Canada. Indy car guy. But it's great. I love that. Like Drive to Survive turned us all into motorheads, which is great. And Gage and I will be dipping into the Indy and see what's going on there. I've heard there's a lot more parity in that. Like it's anyone could pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we'll watch the Indy 500. That was a crazy. I think it was 2 years ago. It was crazy. They had like 18 red flags because it was just they were just going nuts. Gosh, I forget that guy's name.
But we welcome
Beto O'Rourke. Yeah, he's a racer for. He's become close to winning Indy, I believe. I think that's his name.
And the thing that I loved about Adrian Newey's book is that Jogs Villano, he was successful in both.
Yeah.
Like he was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think we appreciate, well, maybe I didn't because I wasn't into
know.
motorsports, but that guy was an absolute stud for a Canadian driver, man. Like absolute stud. Now, it was in his genes, obviously, Gager. Yeah, but great stuff. We say hi to the Winnipeggers, the Hustlerites, the WSTers. Smash that thumbs up. Let's get to 100. We're only 22 away. We'll get back to some Oilers talk. That was a fun conversation, Gage. I absolutely love that segment talking some Indy and F1. Keep sending us your top Oscar-nominated movies as the nominations came out today, and we didn't know any of them, but keep sending those in to the inbox as well. The River Cree inbox, the afternoon inbox, is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. We're back with more Oilers Canucks talk here on EST Afternoons. Here's Zach Kubusch with your sports update.
The Oilers and Canucks face off with Kelvin Pickard getting the start for Edmonton, and you can catch Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas as they tee up the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tune in right here on EST at 6 o'clock. And 10 other games around the league has the Flyers-Rangers battling, the Preds meeting the Sharks before the Flames duke it out against the Sabres. And for Toronto, Matt Murray gets the recall from the Marlies, while Dennis Hildeby goes back to the AHL. And the QMJHL has has revealed the team name of Newfoundland's new team as the Regiment for the 2025-26 season, replacing the Titan from New Brunswick. Elsewhere, the Bengals have hired Al Gordon, Fighting Irish offensive coordinator, to fill that position for Cincinnati, and this marks Golden's second stint with the team. While in Houston, the Texans and team president Greg Grissom have parted ways. Just moments ago, the Spurs beat the Pacers 140-110. Later, the Raps challenge the Hawks, the Mavericks throw down with the Thunder, and the Bulls take on the Warriors, having 9 games in the association. On the links, Ludwig Aberg leads 7 under in round 2 through 9 holes, holding the top of the leaderboard by just 1 stroke. This sports update is brought to you by Gimme Virtual Golf. Step into a whole new golfing experience with 240 unique courses for you to play. Plus, they have a hydraulic swing plate that automatically tees the ball up for you, with the innovative technology replicating real-life ball eyes, moving the ball in 24 different directions. Gimme Virtual Golf, where innovation meets the game. Visit their website at gimmevirtualgolf.ca. We have a brief intermission before EST Afternoons returns. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for 2 at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus, shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
Welcome back to EST Afternoons here. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, Zach Kubusch in the house. Hit us up on the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999. On the nasty chat, Matt Garrison says more strategy in Indy too, because you have to take fuel load into account. Because in F1, you can't. You have to.
Yeah, they got rid of refueling because it was too dangerous.
Too dangerous, right? Can spark up a... Yeah. So this was sent to me. I want to give Jason Jones sent this to me via email. I appreciate it. Canada's Robert Wickens on cusp of winning a championship 5 years after he was paralyzed in Indy car crash. Jesus. And this is from October of last year. That's pretty cool, man.
That is cool.
Pretty cool. Thank you to Jason for sending that in as well. And Gager, what else? Let me see here. Just what can we... well, let's get back to the Oiler talk here. Actually, have you ever been to the Speedway here, just out by the airport? The Speedway track we have here? No,
it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore?
No, it's all Parman's, I think. That's where Jay Milne and I were crushing Red Bull vodkas.
Spency 5 Cents is not Indy, but they have road racing at Rad Torque Raceway.
Yeah, that's by Leduc, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't been there.
I think that's what I was trying to say. Leduc. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've always meant to. Because I think there's races every weekend, actually. You can take your car out there too, I think.
I think our old boss at 1260 works.
Really?
Yeah. I've never been there, so I don't know.
Might have to head out there. Hey, if you're looking for a sponsor.
Van Owen says maybe we should do an EST racing tournament at Speeders. Ooh. Who'd be the best driver here?
I don't know. I think you got to be light to be in there. So I'm
out.
Not me.
Maddie?
Maddie, probably.
Yeah, I can see him being the best driver.
Yeah, he would probably.
Very technical.
Yeah.
Very
He's got the body
responsible.
for it. He's like a young George Russell.
All right, Gager, back to the game tonight. Oilers, Vancouver. We were talking about the power play off air, I think, way before we got on air. Do you anticipate any changes in terms of the one spot? Do you see them maybe mixing it up and taking Arvidsson off that power play?
No, I think it's fine. But that was the first time that a power play hasn't had McDavid on it in how long, right? Like so they looked out of sync. Simplify, get it back to Kubusch, let him unleash. That's what I'd say, and that will open up other things down low. I think just keep it simple for now until you get some continuity and maybe a little bit more chemistry. But I think just because McDavid is such a big part of that power play and so many things are run through him, I think you got to have like maybe 3 kind of set plays that you're kind of looking for. And then whatever happens after that, if you can open something up because teams start cheating one way or the other. Because if you establish Bouchard shooting it, you're going to draw a guy up there. Maybe then it goes down low and a quick play from there, right? So, but you have to show something first. And I think the best bet is just getting it back to Bouchard, having him hopefully get the puck through, looking for trash after that. But, and then something developing organically from there.
The only guy I can see replacing Arvidsson is Corey Perry.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, because they're not putting Skinner there. That ship has sailed.
And he had a great one-timer from that spot that scored. Nacho Man, why not have him there?
Exactly. Keep hammering that thumbs up. We're only 19 away. We have over 160 watching. So only if 19 of you haven't hit it yet, please do so. And if you're listening, just jump over real quick, hit the thumbs up, give us a view.
Not if you're driving, though.
No, not if you're driving. If you're just at your office and you're listening to us instead of doing your work, we appreciate that. We truly.
It was because my son, I was borrowing, like we switched cars for a bit there. He was driving my way, and I had his little 2-door Civic. But it's a 2015, and new cars are great. I mean, that's an older car. It's 10 years old, but what was great about it was as soon as I got in there, my phone just picked up whatever it was playing and just synced seamlessly.
Oh, that must be nice.
It was nice, dude. So, yeah, if you have a car probably over 2015 and you're wondering how to listen to us, I mean, as soon as I got into the car, it automatically clicked and I could hear it. Like it's awesome.
It's amazing though to gauge how many people still don't know.
I know.
And listen, in fairness, it's just because it's not everybody's used to just turning on your radio, right? So it's like I tell your friends, it's iHeart, tune in radio apps. They're free. They're great. You can even go to Edmonton Sports Talk. And like you said, in the newer car, you can automatically just sync it to there.
Yeah.
And it's like they're on the radio. It's like an option.
I mean, most stations, they'd probably prefer you to be on iHeart because it sounds better, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. Driving in, I can listen to either one. It makes no difference to me. It's great. My car's a little bit older too, so I could connect my phone to the car, but it's
my auxiliary cord cacked out on me the other day, so I can't even listen to it. I need a new, I don't know which, the dongle part to my iPhone, but I mean Bluetooth in a car. I mean mine's old school. Mine's an 07. I think.
Do you remember back in the day when we would connect our Discman to the car?
Oh, do you remember the
cassette?
And it would skip all the time. But I had bought like the dampening plate or whatever. Did you ever have one of those?
No.
So it wouldn't skip?
No.
Oh, it said it worked, but you would click your Sony Discman into this little thing that was supposed to be like absorb the shot, and it didn't work. It skipped I had a pillow in my back seat. that I would put my disc player on.
Yeah.
It worked perfectly.
That's hilarious. I remember how I had the Discman with the cassette, and you listen to your burnt CDs that you made.
Yeah. I remember like my terrible decision. If you're a young hockey player, all right, and you've been drafted. I don't care if you're first, second, third round. Don't go buy a brand new car when you first. That's the worst decision you make. I did that. I was an idiot. I bought a Jeep Grand Cherokee with a 6-disc changer on it that I had to go under the passenger seat, pull this thing out, and load it up with the 6 discs.
Really?
Yeah. It was just the bomb.
It's just a simpler time when you just had the damn cassette tape.
Oh, yeah.
The only downside was if you wanted to hear your favorite song. It was not hard, but you just had to fast forward and get through all the other songs and kind of time it perfect. Like how long before that song starts?
Yeah. Yeah. I was with the Swiss Miss, Mish and I would always go over to his place in the Myers and we'd burn CDs. He was big into his like techno.
Oh, really?
Oh,
the
yeah.
house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mish was funny. God, he was a funny guy because he had like obviously European styling, but wanted to be a little bit North American. And just the tightest jeans. Like if we ever got chased by the cops, it was no problem because he was getting caught first. We hardly walk in those things. But he bought lugs, like hardcore rapper boots or whatever. I go, Mish, what are you doing wearing lugs? He goes, they make me tough.
Yeah, those are great memories, man. Like you know what I like about like where we are in terms of age is that we saw life before social media.
Yeah.
And all these electronics that have consumed us.
Yeah, they call it cell phone for a reason because you're in prison with that thing.
Yeah, like the cassette tapes, recording music onto a cassette tape from the radio, just house phones, nothing else. You go out. If you go out and went missing, no one's gonna find you.
I've actually been looking for a house phone with the long cord, and just. It would, because my kids probably couldn't even dial out on it. It wouldn't make sense, I guess. But just I talked to my daughter about this just the other day. It was she was saying how to study she had to put her phone away because it's a distraction. And even if like I forget that Netflix series, but if I have my phone and I haven't touched it, it'll blink on with some alert that I don't have notifications for. It's just like touch me, feel me all the time. It's terrible. But then my daughter said, you know what? I didn't touch it for a while, and I felt better. Like I didn't have to keep checking stuff.
I remember when the second line option became available.
Oh yeah, I remember playing like video games, like online or something, or you were on the internet, and someone called your house, and it would kick you out because you had to dial in, and you're just like, oh,
it's Yeah, it's just like I wish Kub would have lived in those years.
Oh my gosh. There's no clue.
I mean, we're glad you're here now, but
well, geez. I mean,
you don't even remember
take over.
life without a cell phone, do you?
Like iPad, cell phone, computers.
I grew up a lot with like the computers and the Xbox. Like my brother had the original Xbox, so I was right in there. And I think I had my first
siblings
phone.
that are way older than you, huh?
Yeah, just the one. He's 31, I think. Yeah, 31 exactly. So he's 10 years older than myself, and he's handed me down some great things, I guess you could say, with the Xbox and all those older quote unquote kind of consoles. But I remember getting my first phone, I think in like grade 6. It was an iPhone 4S. So like I've had a phone since I was 12 years old, which is crazy to think about. And the kids nowadays, like they live on their iPads. Like I got 2 nieces who are 2 and 4 years old who are just live on that thing. Like it's so integrated.
But not just that, Gage. I remember when I was a kid in the summers, like, and now it's different times. I get it, but we spent all day outside. Like we were never inside watching TV, playing video games. Like you would from time to time, but you were outside all day. And now I like the parents that are like, "You're going outside." I don't care. Find something to do. Get dirty.
When's your birthday, Kub?
October 29th, 03.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
Same day the first Call of Duty came out. The very first one. I don't know why I know that. I checked it. I share a birthday with Vince Dunn, I think, too. Oh, that's why he wears number 29.
What, 29th of October?
Yeah.
So Halloween, January. You were probably Probably a Christmas party gone wrong, huh? Mom and Dad had a late Christmas party in January.
I don't dig that deep. I don't want to know. I'm not going to talk. No.
This was his. I'm sure the pillow in the backseat was just for a disc. And I was going to say, you know what I want to do with Koo? I think would be fun. We come up with 5 to 8 questions about the 80s, 90s.
Oh, God,
multiple choice, and he has to guess.
Yeah.
Fully sports related or just
life, like pop culture, movies, just everything.
I mean, I like the 80s music. Like, that's probably my favorite kind of music, like late 70s, early 80s kind of. I mean, like ABBA and Metallica and all that great stuff. Like, that's where the best
I should bring this game in then. It's called Hitster, I believe. It's pretty neat. It's you use your phone, but the cards have like QR codes, and you scan it. It plays a song, and you start off, you have a card and it has a year on it. So say it's like 1980.
Yeah.
And then the song comes on and you got to say if it's before or after 1980.
Oh, wow.
And there's ways, if you name the artist and the name of the song, you get extra points or whatever. But then if you win, you get that other card. So that card could now be like the year 2000. So on your next song, you have to say whether it's in between 2000 or 80 or before or after 80 and 2000. So you build this up. It's a lot of fun, actually. I played it with my brother-in-law the other night. I'll see if I can borrow it and bring it in. It's cool.
I'm intrigued, but we should. Penner's Pancake says yes, 80s trivia for Coop, but I'd expand it to 90s too, because Coop wasn't around in the 90s. So I mean, I think it'd be fun to see what these kids know about. Probably
more than me.
I think that would be great. If you want that to become a regular segment, it won't be every day, Gager. I'm not that creative, but once a week, we got to hit 100 thumbs up. We're only 13 away, Gager. Okay. It's 2:42 here. Coming up next, we'll close out the show. Get you set for Reed Wilkins and Jay Milne. And just a reminder, at 6, it's the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre-game show with Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and myself. Portions of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. Host your team or league fundraiser at the Canadian Brew House for a chance to win $2,500 with tons of options to choose from. The Canadian Brew House can help you raise the funds for your crew. Details in store or online at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. We close out EST Afternoons after the break. Here's Zach with your sports update.
Kelvin Pickard gets a start for the Oilers Canucks rematch with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas previewing the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live at 6 o'clock right here on EST. And there's 10 other games around the league seeing the Canadians face the Red Wings, Vegas in St. Louis, and the Hockey Club challenging the Wild. Meanwhile, in Toronto, Matt Murray has been recalled from the AHL while Dennis Hildeby gets sent back to the Marlies. And staying out east, the QMJHL has announced the name of the relocated Akadi Bathurst Titans, a Newfoundland regiment, starting next season. And down south, the Texans and team president Greg Grimson have parted ways while the Bengals hired Notre Dame's Al Golden as their newest defensive coordinator, with Golden previously coaching for the Bengals in the 2020 and 2021 seasons as their linebackers coach. Earlier, the Pacers fell 140-110 against the Spurs. Later, we see the Raptors meet the Hawks, the Kings tip off with the Nuggets, and the Celtics throw down with the Lakers on a 9-game NBA slate. And across the pond, Canadian Alphonso Davies has suffered a UCL sprain from yesterday's game for Bayern Munich and will be sidelined for the time being. No timeline on his return is set just yet. The final segment of EST Afternoons brings us back on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubusch for your sports update.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Helix and Sweet. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Sweet. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Make a fresh start in the new year with Sentinel Storage. With convenient locations near you, Sentinel Storage is here to help you make space for everything 2024 holds. Sentinel Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Final segment here on EST Afternoons. Thank you for being part of the show for the first hour and 46 minutes here. It's been a fun one. We've touched on a lot of different subjects, some not sports, but that's the fun of this, of doing this. Sometimes you just go off the rails, and it's a good time. Koob, you have something to say.
I'm very eager. We're talking during the break about a possible name for a segment if, we were to do 80s or 90s trivia.
Yeah.
Zach to the future.
Oh, I love the boom.
Boom!
That's why he's the guy there.
Very nice.
Now, would you want multiple choice or just straight up answer or a combo?
A combo would be nice, like a little bit of a curveball, because you could go kind of deeper into the questions. And some things, of course, I'm not going to know. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable in the music standpoint of things, but like when it comes
stay
to
away
like
from
90s
music
movies,
no, 90s movies, 90s shows, things that came out in the 80s, 90s, maybe finish the lyric, play a part of a movie line, and you have to guess which one it is. And we'll keep your grades and see if you can get close to 100%.
90s Oilers trivia.
Oh, fuck.
Just shout out. I believe it's Jack Michael's birthday today.
Oh, nice.
So happy birthday, Jack. I know you're listening.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Zach to the future. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Petter's Pancake says multiple choice would be fun. I think multiple choice because then we can laugh at Koob when he selects the wrong answer.
Select some bogus answer. That's good.
And then we'll have a nice buzzer when he's correct, a nice buzzer when he's incorrect, and we should have some fun with that. So that's something that's definitely going to come into the mix. I do want to work on a few intros for, the Red Light District's the best one, but for Hernan's World.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe like, Wayne's World instead of Wayne, Hernan's World. That'd be good. And then one for this one as well. Heat and Smoke as well. So we'll take your suggestions, Nancy, because
we're not that creative.
We're not that creative, and it seems like you are. Gager, if the Oilers drop this game tonight, how concerned are you?
Very.
No, for real though.
Good teams don't lose 3 in a row.
Okay.
This is big, man. Good that's the motto. Good teams don't lose 2 in a row. They've been doing such a good job of it. It's got to stop tonight. Lots of motivation. I think this is an important game you want another, if you're in dressing rooms at the professional level, even whatever, junior or whatever, but you hear, you keep the teams below you, right? So, and I'm referring to the standings. You want to keep those teams below you and keep progressing towards first in the Pacific.
I think it's interesting because I know Reed on the post-game show on Tuesday said he has a feeling like this week could go a little sideways for them, and every team goes through it.
Well, Vegas did.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and especially without Conor McDavid, the power play's not the same. A lot of things are not the same, obviously, but
it's too much of an excuse. Well, we didn't have Conor. If this team's not good enough to win without Conor, then how are you going to win I know he's a great player and stuff and a big part of your team, but you should still be able to win hockey games throughout the regular season.
I agree 100%. I agree 100% with you, Gager. I just hope, like, whatever. Say they go 1-2 this week. I just don't want panic to set in. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, no. I mean, they were victim to pretty good goaltending. And last game, it's not. The Washington Capitals took advantage of certain situations. I looked to the first goal. That was this highly skilled goal on a mistake by the Edmonton Oilers, but it was a silly mistake. It wasn't. They didn't generate something out of nothing. You know, a lot of those goals were just given to them, I find, anyway. So, if they play that same way and have the attention to detail that we've seen from them on a regular basis, there's no reason why they shouldn't win. It's not going to be easy. Like, this is going to be, I think it's a 1-goal hockey game tonight, but they should be able to beat the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, both teams are going to be angry coming in. I think it's going to be a tight game. It always is when these two teams meet. I think it's a good goaltending matchup too.
Yep.
Demko and Pickard going. Special teams is going to be a factor because Vancouver last week scored 2 on the power play. Gager, a little bit unfortunate there. Phyllis says, hey, Hernan and Joaquin, I have no worries that you guys will win. Vancouver is a mess. Just get the puck out of the ozone and let the forward players do their stuff. I agree. And you bring up a good point too where a lot of the times the Oilers lose, it's their own doing. The Arvidsson drop pass that leads to a 2-on-1. The Bouchard not wanting to engage in a battle in front of the net. The flybys on the third goal. Like, if Vancouver beats you and their goals were earned and they were all, great plays, and sometimes you got to tip your hat, that's fine. But the Oilers far too often when they're losing games, it's because they're pretty much gift wrapping
You
them.
look back, and you could say that in a lot of cases to teams, right? There's mistakes on both sides, but I just found that the goals allowed against the Washington Capitals were easily correctable.
Yeah,
I would say, right? From the flyby in the net on the third, the non-physicality from Bouchard on the second, and the drop pass on the first goal. Those things are that you can get them out of your game a lot easier than just not having the skill level to compete, right?
Yeah.
This compared to some teams where you can't do that against the Vancouver Canucks. They'll make you pay, and vice versa. If the Canucks play like they did against the Buffalo Sabres, the Oilers will blow them out of the water.
Yeah, no, I agree. John Carlo says Oilers' hardest opponents are themselves.
Yeah, you could say that about a lot of teams.
Yeah, a lot of teams. And I was telling you, I tune into a lot of the Canadian teams' post-game shows, and when they lose, it's almost the same conversation in every market. We're only 8 away from 100. We got about 3 minutes left here. Please slam that thumbs up to get us to 100, and we'll bring Zach to the future. It might make its debut next week. We'll have a lot of fun with that as we have some spots for some fun segments for sure. Here is the Oilers next week. I think it's a slower schedule. They only play the 3 games, Gager. Again, the afternoon inbox is presented by the River Cree Resort and Casino featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. Today is National Pie Day, Gager. Your favorite pie?
Don't really. I guess I'll go apple, but I don't really eat pie.
You're not a big pie guy?
No.
No? Not with a little ice cream on the side?
No.
Coop?
It's got to be pecan or pecan, however you say it.
Pecan
pie.
Pecan. I gotta go. I like pumpkin. I think it's really good. But I think apple's just a staple.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't really like the strawberry one.
Rhubarb.
Rhubarb's not bad.
I want to be sitting in like an old school soda pop diner and get the little case that the pie's in, and the old school freshly baked pie.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, like it's almost you always have to have it like at an old diner with a cup of coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like that. I like the Van Owen says key lime for the win.
Yeah. I don't mind.
Are you just not a sweets guy?
No, not really.
Okay, so you're not.
I don't really like dessert too much. It's tough to say no to cheesecake. I make a pretty good pumpkin cheesecake.
Oh, wow.
It's like pumpkin pie, but it's cheesecake.
You know what?
It's Emeril Lagasse's recipe. Bam!
I don't have a lot of sweet tooth, but I crave it from time to time, like a good donut or a Danish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where do you get it?
Italian Center.
Okay, yeah.
That place, you can't walk by the bakery and not grab something,
Dude,
man.
I went into this place off of White Ave. What's it called? Donut Party? It was for my daughter's birthday or whatever. We got a bunch of them. Jeez. Those donuts are dangerous.
Oh, I've
There's
walked
stuff
by
all
there,
over
yeah.
it. Oh, those things are so big and there's so much crap all over them. They're amazing.
VR says peach pie or lemon meringue. Oh, peach pie is good. You don't find that a lot though.
No.
Phyllis says apple pie and ice cream for me. The old Fallout perfectly preserved pie. Fife and Deckel for a quick pie from Max Bezuzu. Fife and Deckel's great. You ever had do people, because I know people that eat pie with slices of cheese. Yeah.
Who are you hanging out with?
I tried it, but I just I liked it because I like cheese, but I wasn't like mixing it or anything. But I don't know. I found it weird
nice
too.
Gorgonzola with my apple pie? No.
Can I get a pound of Gouda?
Pound? Jesus.
D-Rock says pecan cheesecake. And Matt Hyman, cherry pie underrated in my opinion. So no to pie with cheese. Okay, duly noted. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. But all right, guys. Reed Wilkins is coming up with J-Man. They're gonna have the wonderful looking Luke Gastic on the show.
Oh.
So make sure to tune in for that. And at 6 o'clock, another handsome man, Tom Gazzola, takes over as it's going to be the Oil Stream pre-game show. Oilers Canucks tonight. We'll see you for the pre and post-game show. Stick around for Reed. For Joaquin Gage, Zach Kubusch, I am Hernan Salas. Enjoy the game tonight. Don't boo. And we'll talk tomorrow. Chowders.